All right, here we go again. Thanks for the face, Chronic. Welcome to the Braver, Newer, Wilder podcast. It is Wednesday, March 11th in the year of the apocalypse, 2026.
Year of the apocalypse.
That's right.
I just thought I'd slide that in there, being that, fuck it, we're at war with Iran.
It's at the end of
exactly
times.
Exactly what all the people who voted for him said they didn't want.
Netanyahu finally got somebody in bed with him.
Yep.
Yeah, I could say that's, yeah. It's
Besides
when
all
you're
the young
starting a
girls from the
war for your
Epstein
sugar daddy.
cases.
I don't even know where to start. Like, it's been 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
like, we talked about this when we first started all this shit. Like, right, we couldn't keep up with the crazy, and it's accelerating. You know, I have read so much stuff in the last 2 weeks, and I know that it's just 0.0001% of whatever's actually fucking happening. Like, everything from Russia was giving Iran the exact coordinates for where our ships were, to a stealth bomber that flew over a bunch of countries with its fucking transponder on, and like all these countries literally recorded all the transponder information of this quote unquote stealth bomber that wasn't even supposed to be there.
One of our stealth bombers?
I think it was from Israel, actually. I think it was one of Israel's big bombers, and they're like, no, we're not flying over here, but the transponder was on. Like, the most low-tech fucking mistake you can make, where this plane's just flying around going, here I am, here I am, here I am.
Speaking of tech mistakes, and we definitely bombed a school because we got the coordinates
bombed a
wrong,
school.
or we thought.
We killed 175 kids. And
Some-
other people in a bomb that killed went in. Okay. Apparently, from what I heard, it was AI was doing the targeting. It was like using AI information to tell them where to do things. Something else I heard was that China was recording every aspect of this war with about 300 satellites, I want to say, essentially watching how we move every piece of our fucking gear. Like, they're above the goddamn risk board right now, watching this shit happen and just recording our for future strategies. Like, they are gaining decades worth of intelligence information because we're doing all this shit out in the open.
Yeah. But, I mean, we're doing it out in the open, but if the narrative is to be believed, all the Russian and Chinese air defense systems have been sold to Iran, not worth a shit, which is thing in our favor. I mean, like, hopefully that, I mean, I would hope to believe that, like, everything else that we say is made in China, it's shit. Right? You know,
I don't know about that. I feel like that's some American propaganda, because I understand that the Chinese have always been very open about stealing corporate secrets as basically as a means to giving you a cheaper price on the business that you do with them, right? Yeah. So I know that's a thing that they've kind of prided themselves for years. I've worked with some Chinese products in the construction field. I've dealt with some stuff. I don't find it to be all, I feel like they've got a lot of versions. They've got some cheap shit that they send over here, and then they've got some shit that they keep for themselves.
Because they know that that's what we like. We like to buy cheap shit. I mean,
absolutely.
Cheap shit. Yeah.
And I mean, I was saying kind of that tongue in cheek. That's more the American, like, because you hear everybody, any fucking person says they're using something like, piece of shit made in China. But what's the other thing we say about China? Everything is made in China. Does everything we use suck? No. There's a lot of good. What happened is American manufacturers, American designers sent products over to China. China put bids on them. If the people that are in America didn't want to pay a lot of money for something, China built it cheaply. If we wanted to pay a lot for manufacture and design and precision, it wasn't cheap, and China would make it for us. I mean, China's making our fucking iPhones. If everything fucking sucked that China makes, iPhones would be horrible, but they're one of the best fucking devices out there. I mean, maybe not, but we can, but like, they're not, it's not the junk that we think that China's sending out. They're very capable of producing high quality goods very well. I think more of what we see when we talk about shit products made out of China, it's the manufacturers here in America that are sending stuff to China saying, hey, can you make this for $2 instead of $4? And China's like, yeah, we can.
Yeah, we'll put our
kids that were ready to work
right on it. We'll get them right.
All right. Well, I'll throw this in a direction that's not current events. It's not about the war, but it's kind of like like there was a time when American manufacturing meant that you bought a quality product that lasted for a long time. Somewhere along the lines, they realized that making a product that lasts for a long time was not in their best business interest. It's now become a threshold of how quickly can this shit break before they bitch about it.
Yep.
And like, what's the expectation? Like how now, like how often do you expect to buy a new car? How often do you expect to buy a new TV? I swear to God, like I know a half a dozen people that have a refrigerator in their garage that's been there since 1965. Like, right? That fucking thing is ice cold.
Yeah. But you
But
bought
if you
one in
bought one
1995.
today, but if you bought it today, it'd be broken within 10 years.
Yeah. Yep. Easily.
So what does that say about American manufacturing and the quality that we, first of all, expect as consumers and we want to put out as manufacturers? Like, you're telling me two different things now, like, right?
Yeah, 100%.
There's that fine line, like you said. They've got to have us want it frequently, but at the same time, it's got to be good enough and last just long enough to where people don't say, "Oh, don't buy that."
That doesn't have shit to do with us. That has everything to do with them and their fucking profits. Like I am, Chronic and I have, we've been in construction for a lot of years, and we can be a little brand loyal. But you buy tools, you have an expectation. The minute they don't meet that expectation, there's 5 other manufacturers willing to fucking take their place. I have not bought a piece of DeWalt equipment in 15 years because their skill saws were shit 15 years ago. Like, right?
And they're still shit.
And they're still shit.
They haven't improved. Have not improved.
So, and I mean, I get that. I know that I am that kind of person to where if you burn me with a bad product, you have got to earn my trust back. And
that's what I'm saying. There's that. They've got to make it good enough to where it'll last just long enough to where you don't diss the product.
Well, I guess that's the new paradigm, huh? As opposed to just making something that lasts longer than everybody else's. Like, you can't even brag
where's the
about
sweet
that.
spot? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess. So now, because they've now trained us to buy a new refrigerator every however often, buy a new car. Like, I mean, God, I sound like such an old fuck sometimes, but just the 70s and the 80s, if you got a good car, you took care of it because, man, you felt like you almost got one over on the man because it just happened to hit the sweet spot coming out of the factory, right? And it's like, all right, this is a good damn car. I'm going to hold on to it until she dies.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I hate the throwaway culture that we're in, like whether it's the packaging that the item comes in or the actual fucking item itself where, it's expected to be used and thrown away.
Single use.
It's silly. When it's thrown away, it's in a landfill. Nothing in it is usable anymore.
Amen.
Like I don't even, things are expensive right now and that sucks. I'd love them to be cheaper, but I still wouldn't mind paying a little more for a product that I knew was going to last. It's the last one I buy. It's the only one I buy. Right. The problem with that is like, how many of these items do you sell as a manufacturer? If you can only sell 100 of these or, 100 being whatever, obviously if it's a widget, you're probably going to sell 1 million, maybe 2 million, whatever, right? Widgets, wherever they are. Because maybe not everybody in America needs a widget. There's only 2 million people that need it in America. So if 2 million people buy their widgets from you and you sell all those 2 million people their widgets and those widgets last forever, you've sold your last 2 million widgets, your first and last. That's it. So we have to keep saying like, oh, here's version 2. Here's version 2.2. It's new and improved, like over and over and over. And it's the same shit. But
the engine of capitalism is consumerism. Like, right?
Yes. Yep.
You have to convince enough people that no matter what they have at any current time, it's not good enough, it's not enough, and they got to have more and better and more bullshit. Building products that outlast your consumers is a bad business model.
Unfortunately, it is.
If you only sell
it doesn't have to be though, because
I'm always open for a better paradigm.
Because what the manufacturer could do is realize, all right, we've got this product that's going to last 40 years. Instead of making a cheaper product that doesn't last as long, just gradually increase the cost or the purchase price on that item until you hit the sweet spot. You know what I mean?
My dude, we've got washing machines that cost $5,000 right now.
Holy hell.
Have you not been to Lowe's or Home Depot in a while? These are just sitting in the aisle. You could spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a washer and then a dryer.
No.
Pretty easily.
Wow.
Although, as a counterpoint to that, and I'm not trying to like argue, but just like I was walking, me and my sister were getting some shit the last time I was up there on Christmas. And because that's my Christmas presents to my family is remodeling and fixing handyman shit on their house free of charge, right? Yeah. It's great for me and it's great for them.
Nice.
But We're walking through the Lowe's aisle there, and they've got washer and dryer machines all in one units, and they're $1,000.
I have put those in some remodel projects, like a family who their main laundry room was downstairs, but they had a couple of kids, and they're wonderful. They run on 110, so you don't need a 220 line. You can pop that bitch in a decent size walk-in closet, and they basically steam dry, so you don't even have a vent. They are wonderful little products. Yep.
Good
And
to
I'm
know.
surprised we're not seeing more of them. And yeah, I'm really surprised we don't see those a little more readily available or advertised. I actually, yeah, that was probably at least 10 years, 12 years since I actually put one of those in a job.
Is steam dry not an oxymoron? By definition, steam has moisture.
Yeah, I guess that I think they play with the temperature of the steam. It goes from hot to like cool, and then it brings it down. But these things are wonderful. They steam dry your clothes. It keeps the wrinkles out, and they run on less power. They don't have to have that vent out the side of the house. Like it was. I only dealt with it I think one or two times, but all in all, it was like wow, I was very impressed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to
But
hear.
no, I'm all for finding ways to change up the paradigm of being like, okay, how can we get quality? I don't even know at this point. Like, do I even care about keeping the business, like the manufacturer, happy? Everything changed to keep them making more and more and more and more and more and more money, right? They keep raising prices, they do all these things, but at no point do they ever say, hey, look,
What do they say?
They never say that. But they never say like, hey, you know what, for 6 months, we get that we're in a hard time. We're just going to make, a few billion less. That's never an option, right? It's kind of right up there with, we always have money for wars, but why would we ever expect corporations to make a little bit less money?
Yeah, you can bomb the shit out of brown people in another country, but can't take care of the own people in our country.
I think it's just a matter of what you can get people used to accepting. Like, right? Like you watch these news reports every day, like, oh yeah, all these massive companies, Apple, IBM, for the history of all time, like that recording, billions in profits and this and that. But if they have one bad quarter, they have to raise the prices. I'm like, well, didn't you bitches like save for a rainy day? Like, what's up? Like, this is what you tell us to do. You're a fucking huge corporation who's supposed to be like really, really good at business and shit. You don't have a little something set aside for a rainy day, or if you had a bad quarter, you're just going to take that shit out on the people who, pay you.
Well, that's like insurance companies. They increase their premiums. Now I've got to file a claim. Well, we're going to jack your premium up really high. I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't that what I've been paying for the whole time? Been paying for the what if the whole time?
You have been on an individual basis, but you got to get that insurance companies are a zero-sum structure. The end of the year, they look at how much they paid out, they take that number, and they look at how many customers they have, and they divide those two numbers, and they say, okay, everybody now owes us this much money.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just think it's horrible system that we have here in the U.S.
You can literally, I think our buddy Grant, years ago, he told me a story of like his dad who never had a thing against his driver's license, like his insurance, right? Never had a claim, never had a speeding ticket, never had an accident, never had anything. And like he gets a notice that his rates are going up, and he calls like, well, what are you fucking talking about? And they're like, well, sir, you haven't had an accident for 50 years. You are statistically lying. You're due to have an accident.
Wow.
All right, well, I'm due to go find a fucking another insurance carrier is what I'm due to do.
Bennett.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was true, but that's a pretty great story. But also consider that how many people do you know that the minute they have any kind of insurance claim, they want to screw the insurance company. They're not screwing the insurance company. They're screwing the rest of us because they bring all those fucking rates up. Like I said,
I followed you. Like, what's an example?
So, okay. So
here, I got an example.
Go for it.
Not to interrupt, but I have a very personal example just right now. And this isn't healthcare, but this is an insurance thing, right? I just had my work trailer broken into at the storage unit. People broke into it, cut the lock, stole some shit out of it, right? Luckily for me, most of my tools are in my storage unit, not in my tool trailer. So they only got like my miter saw, the miter saw stand, and like parts bins and like toolboxes that had all kinds of who knows what in it that I don't remember what's in there, except for when I knew I needed something, I went to that bin and now it's gone. Anyway, that's what they took. I had the opportunity on the insurance claim to say what was stolen. I could have listed off all my fucking tools. My tool trailer was packed with every tool I had.
As long as you
Right?
got the receipts for it, they were all in there.
Yep. But I didn't do that because I mean, let's be honest here. I, the reason I didn't do it was because if they find this guy and he only has like these tools on him, it's gonna be like, what'd you do with the rest of them? You know, and it might make shit fucking difficult, which I doubt it. And they haven't heard from him, and I'm sure they're not gonna find anything. But I didn't want to cross that bridge, so I just named off the things that I knew were stolen. And firstly, I didn't do it because I didn't want to perjure myself. I don't want to lie and get caught in my own lie. I'm a terrible liar. But secondly, I also know that I don't want her to, if I lie and they pay out on this, it's false and they shouldn't do it. And it raises for whatever they have to pay me. It's not just like, well, you've been paying in, here's your money. We had a claim that you filed that counts toward this number. Now everybody's rates are going up next year.
Gotcha.
So I was trying to be as honest as I could.
And most people don't. Like, they get that opportunity and they're like, oh, I'm going to stick it to the insurance company. Well, you ain't sticking it to the insurance company. Do you see that many insurance companies going out of business? Like,
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
They're doing
Oh,
it
nationwide. No, they can afford to pay Patrick Mahomes like fucking millions of dollars and State Farm and shit. Like, right? Yeah, the insurance companies are doing just fine. I promise you.
How much money do you think did Progressive have to do to get Flo and all her people and the writers for that? Which I don't know if it was Flo because I know she's a comedian herself, but to get that and then to promote it over and over and over so that Progressive was finally could compete with State Farm and Allstate and all those other companies, you know, Geico,
Farmers and Geico and everybody.
And Geico also had to promote itself. I mean, they paid David Beckham to voice their Gecko.
We just listed 6 major insurance companies off the top of our heads. That's a little fucking weird.
Yeah. Who knew?
All right. Well, okay. So there we go. There's where we at. 2 minutes worth of shit we just did. We didn't even have any kind of fun. We didn't have a plan.
And
we start. I love how we do this too, because we start talking about current events and then it's like, fuck it, man. This is so depressing. Let's talk about something else.
Well, this might hit the editing room floor, but something you said reminded me of, it applies to anybody, but especially the older generation. You can't believe what you see or what you read these days. And my dad is constantly telling me, did you hear such and such? On the way home from the hospital in Atlanta, he's on his phone on X, and he said, holy cow, did you see where the New York Jets have offered 5 first-round picks, their top receiver, and other draft picks for Patrick Mahomes?
No, they didn't.
I said, but what's your source? Now get it. His source, he said, was X. I said, no, that's not a source. That's not a source. So then I said, who wrote the thing on X? And he said, so I've said, I've never heard that name. And he's just constantly believing whatever, you know?
I get it. Like, and I just, every day I'm baffled by like these telephone scammers and these like people who pretend to be celebrities and how they get away with this shit. And then I get it. It's just, it's a couple of levels up from exactly what you're talking about, man. And the thing is, and oh man, I just finished a great Chuck Klosterman book called The 90s. And it's so great about like how, because things like that are close enough in history to where we all lived through them. And then it's like what actually happened, you know, versus your recollection of what happened is always kind of a little skewed. But it's like, right, it's inside of all that, right? They want to believe. Like, it's David Duchovny. Okay. It's the fucking X-Files, man. They want to believe. So you tell people what they want to believe, and they believe it. Like, that's, like, so much of that happened during, like, the 90s and the 2000s as we came into the internet age and out of the Reagan era. But it's like, if you're just willing to tell people what they want to hear, you'll be very successful. Like Fox News MSNBC too. I can't go, you know, MSNBC did the same thing in the other direction. If you tell your people what they want to fucking hear, you'll have
and here's
a
the
fan
thing.
for life.
A lot of accounts on social media now are clearly, what's the word I'm looking for?
AI parodies or
not AI, but
satire.
Satire. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And I went back and researched this Patrick Mahomes, and I found the account that shared it. It clearly describes itself as satire.
Absolutely, I get it. But if you want to believe, your dad's not going to the bottom of that page to find out where that shit came from. It is literally, you see a headline that tells your brain what it already wants to hear, or some version of it that you're like, it makes sense, or this sounds right, and you will just, you know, you'll share it with all your people.
If nothing else, it's something for them to talk about.
It's the craziest thing. Like this is like the most prime example of the difference between like the engineer brain and more of that creative brain, right? Because the engineer brain is pretty much what got us the internet. And the engineer brain said, man, wouldn't it be great if anybody could share any thought they had completely anonymously? In theory, but in reality, apparently we're a bunch of fucking assholes. Like, we're just monkeys that still want to throw shit at each other. Like, right now, we're just typing it instead of throwing it. Because anonymity is the worst fucking thing. Like, everybody's now a keyboard tough guy and a telephone tough guy. And, like, nobody's accountable for anything they say. And you can hide behind it and blah, blah, blah. So, in a sense, yes, it exposed exactly who we are as a as a country and as a race.
Yeah, to your point, on a chat board, if an old person says, hey, is there anyone that can help explain such and such to me? 100 people are going to reply, yeah, you stupid fucking moron.
Right.
Wait a minute. They're just asking for a little help. Now, go eat something.
I saw someone post online that said, like, this was like a researcher, someone who actually does like legitimate work, right? And sometimes they get stuck and they have to ask for professional help. And so they will post their question and then they will have a secondary account, right? And they will intentionally respond from the secondary account with an absolutely incorrect answer, because most people don't want to be helpful, but they want to be right and correct other people. So if you post a wrong answer, then people just flood in there to tell you the right thing. Like, no, you got to do it this. So she winds up getting the right answer, but
That's
not
brilliant.
because it's using the human psychology to your advantage.
Love it. Might try that approach.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the internet design is completely based on engineer logic. It's logically makes sense. But when you introduced it to the humanity that is America and the rest of the world, well, then you just get, people throwing shit at each other. And then you get all the different factions. You get all the different political views, and it's designed to feed you what you want to hear 24 hours a day. I've been on Facebook now for my second time for a while, and I'm so fucking pissed off. Like, every day I wake up and I scroll to Facebook and I have to block 10 things that I would never have wanted to see, and I don't know how they got there. Like, I get more fucking far right wing bullshit in Facebook, and I am literally only trying to see like MotoGP motorcycles, Red Bull shit, and titties. Pretty much all I want to see.
Absolutely. And maybe a couple cat videos.
Some cat videos would be fine. Yeah, throw some rando shit here and there, a little bit of news headlines. But I'm getting the craziest shit, like from like the farthest far right lunatics that I could ever imagine. And
really,
no way, it's their algorithm. They're just trying to pump it. So I literally got to get away from Facebook.
Yeah, but I thought their algorithm learns what you like and feeds you just that.
It pushes an agenda. Facebook pushes an agenda.
Yeah, that's not stuff you like. It's stuff that's going to quote unquote trigger you. I mean, not that you're triggered by it, but they're trying to.
Right, but we know a negative post gets more views, right? What did I just read?
A NASCAR race with a wreck is more.
Well, that's sensationalism. But sure, yeah, it's always going to get more views. It was what was it? Well, the presidential campaign that changed everything was what, like the 20 to 2000, was it the Bush Gore, the one that came down to Florida, and they were both supposed to just be kind of like blah. They were both two sides of the same coin that nobody really gave a shit about. But I'm trying to remember like what you mentioned something in that book that was like changed the game, or it was, I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have even been Clinton, like admitting to the affair and then getting more popular, or Bush the second saying something stupid and then his poll ratings went up. It was like that's when we were starting to see like that beginning of the real internet, like not the AOL CompuServe bullshit where people were pretty much just on there checking emails, but the internet of the daily life was starting to come about. That's when we were really getting like what people's psychology and how they felt about things, and polling was a big thing. Like all throughout the 90s, we were polling everybody about everything, right? Because we still had enough people answering their damn phones. But That's when we learned, sensationalism sells.
And now we don't need to poll anymore because we're offering up all our information on our phones to them.
Sure. I mean, they still take these polls. I don't know. I mean, I still think most of them are conducted by actual phones or landlines, so I don't know who is exactly answering these polls. But
right.
I figured
Old
most polls
people.
these days are via an online survey, I figured.
I guess I don't know enough about that at all. It does seem like, polls versus reality have been quite skewed, especially since the first Trump administration, right? Like, and it was
Yeah.
even that what's that? Who's that famous guy who got into like sports numbers and stuff? That's oh good God, 502 or something like that. He predicted he had like all the numbers, but he was off, and he was predicting that Hillary was going to win and then Trump win. Nobody, Joel Stein or Joel
Is
Silver.
it the guy from Moneyball?
No, it wasn't the Moneyball thing. This guy was like a probability statistical analysis kind of guy that I think went into more of sports stuff afterwards. But
Oh.
I'll just cut this part out. No problem.
No problem. We know what we're talking about.
But so I don't know. Inside of that system, how do you change anything? Like, how do you even get anywhere? How do you even have a conversation when now everyone's being fed only what they want to hear? Most people, and 80% of people don't want to read headlines, read news articles that are different than what they like. How do you make any headroads? How do you make any conversation inside of that?
I'd love to know the answer. Yeah, no.
Well, it's gonna be hard to. I don't think you can. There's a few people out there that are actively trying to do stuff, but
I mean, I'm seeing headlines today like, Joe Rogan's now, splitting with Trump because of the war. I'm like, well, fucking congratulations. 5 years too goddamn late, you moron. Like, what about the people who were bitching back in 2016 telling you were a dumb fuck for supporting Trump? Like, right?
yeah,
You want some kind of like congratulations for seeing the light now?
yeah. I hate to be the people that are in the group that say I told you so, but I fucking told you so.
But at
Yeah.
the same time, let's not go too hard on these people because at least they are doing it. Let's not beat them up. Let's
I'm
just
not beating
praise
them up. I'm not beating them up because I even saw like, I've seen some people that are like, okay, enough's enough. And I'm like, I'm not commenting. I'm like, okay, good for you. Give it a little like, but I'm not, I'm not going to, like next time, maybe fucking pay attention.
Yeah. It's like all the writing was on the wall previously. If you research the person, like all of his public life was who he is now. Like, a narcissistic, money hungry person that's all about glorifying himself and making that's all he's about. He'll
Yeah,
do
it hasn't
anything.
changed one bit.
Sick.
Has
No.
been the same since day one. He's been the complete, literally. That was kind of like the whole like unspoken agreement. Like he was going to be their mouthpiece. He was going to say all the awful things, and they were going to vote for him, right? But they also read into it that what he was saying was somehow true, or he was going to follow through with it, right? No.
Yeah.
The whole time he was a piece of shit scumbag. He was
Yeah.
just saying the things that they wanted to hear. Like all those undefined words like woke and lib and this and that. Like they just, it all just played into the feelings.
Sleepy Joe.
Yep. And they're like, okie dokie. But, he owes them nothing. Like the vote is over. He'll never need another one.
No.
Well, he
No.
said that. He said, you vote for me this time, or you won't ever have to vote again.
We don't ever have to worry about voting again.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I heard that line loud and clear.
Loud and fucking clear.
Well, did you see that he announced that he will not sign another piece of legislation until they pass the nationwide Save America Voting Act so that they can federalize the elections?
I did
Didn't
not.
hear that. No. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. Here we go. I mean, all right. Maybe so. I would like to just apologize for all the things I've said about you, Don. I think you're a really swell guy, and go MAGA.
Well, he is supposedly unleashing the hounds on the internet to track people like us down and penalize us.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some of that stuff where anyone who criticizes Trump will be investigated to the fullest extent of blah, blah, blah. Well, didn't that lady get fired, though? Wasn't that Christie?
Was that, well, but her successor is just going to take it and run with it.
Yeah, so she gets fired. She gets replaced somehow with a worse version of herself, and then somehow she gets promoted into a new position that didn't even exist last week.
I don't know if you'd
But
say
let's keep
promoted.
government spending down.
Well, I say promoted because she's now oversees a bigger budget and more people. Like he totally made up a new position to put her in.
Right.
And that was him being mad at her. Like, you know,
Yeah.
because she said that he
Well, he
was
can't
responsible.
fire her. She's got too much on him. He can't just fire her.
That's
I mean,
probably true.
I swear to God, if the minute when they all start turning on each other, I am fucking taking a week off work and I'm just gonna pop the biggest bag of popcorn you've ever. I'm just gonna have like popcorn in a trash bag. Like I'm just be sitting here watching the news when they're fucking turning on each other. That will be my new. Yeah, that will be my new kink. I swear to God, just like the American Nuremberg trials. I'll be like, yes.
God, it's fucking terrible. I just wish doesn't fucking George W. want to come back and be president? We get
Hey man, I used to think he was evil.
Chair.
Yeah.
You remember what he said? He had the classic quote at the first Trump inauguration when Trump went off on some goofy ass speech, and it was Bush Jr. to Bush the second was standing there next to Michelle Obama because those two are somehow buddies. They really get along genuinely. And Trump was talking, and Bush looked at her and he just went, "That was some weird shit." And it's gotten weirder since.
It's gotten weirder since every fucking day.
So well, now we're in another quagmire. We're in a war with Iran. We have no one knows how any of this is being paid for, and we are just burning through fucking bombs and missiles like
nothing.
We're doing it like we got a bunch of buddies who are defense contractors, and we're going to give them a bunch of sweetheart deals. Is exactly how we're doing it.
That's why we had to expand our military budget to $175 billion or $1 trillion or whatever it fucking was.
Well, they're going to need to start signing some emergency money here in a minute, and Congress hasn't signed off on a fucking penny of this shit.
Yeah, and you've seen, I don't know, I don't know, I haven't looked into this. I don't know if it's true. I can't look into it and know if it's true, but it kind of makes sense in that there was a person saying that supposedly he's I don't remember his account, but supposedly he's a Navy veteran that's against all this fucking war and shit. But he was doing the math of saying like how much Iran spends to make a drone to do whatever versus what America spends to shoot down the drones. And you've probably seen it or seen other data elsewhere about it.
I have not, but I'm going to guess we spend way more than they do.
Way more.
Okay.
Way more. Way more. And we can't replace our stockpile fast enough. It's a war. So it's just like all the regime needs to do is outlast us and keep sending those cheap drones at us to wear out our ammunitions. And at some point we can't do anything about it. And that's why I mean, you're Trump, you can't trust anything the motherfucker says, but that's what he's talking about when he's very vague about, the war. Of course it's couched in like, we're winning and we're winning decisively, but we might be backed out in a couple weeks or we might not.
Well, I also saw that Iran took out our radar capabilities in the area.
I heard that.
So all of our shit's like blind, but they know where we are, but we don't know where they are. Like, plus, most of those countries are not allowing us to use their bases to launch from. I don't know that we win this one.
It's another Vietnam or Iraq or Afghanistan or fucking any other of our stupid bullshit wars. We'll go in, say mission accomplished at the end when we've lost and fucking pull out,
Well, the nihilism is strong with this one. I like it.
No,
I'm just saying, like, I don't know that I feel like there's a chance like they can legitimately whoop our ass on this one.
I mean, the geography of the country and the history of it's surrounded by mountains. It's almost fucking impassable. Those people are, it's a cultural thing for tunnel building technology. We've got tunnels all through there. One thing working in our favor.
No other countries want us there. Like, we don't have any friends over there right now. Like, so what?
Except for Israel, who's not our friend.
Well, that's a sugar daddy. But I mean, we're launching everything off of our own aircraft carriers and battleships and everything like that, which I mean are quite. If we don't have any radar capabilities, are quite literally sitting ducks.
Who'd you? I'm just curious. Who'd you hear? Like, how'd you?
That was just a story I saw. I saw it online. They took out the radar, and then like Iran even like sent a message. I saw where Iran sent a message to every person's cell phone in Israel that said U.S. satellites or U.S. radar knocked out. leave your country right now. There is no happy ending kind of shit. Like, we are bombing the fuck out of you and we don't care. Like, get out now. It's your last chance.
I also heard that during that AWS was not, Amazon Web Service was knocked offline. I couldn't tell you how accurate that was.
Okay.
My
Was
service.
it like locally or in America or over?
No. In the Mideast and Europe. Like, they have 3 major servers and the one there was knocked offline or something.
I wonder if you can just buy new. Can you buy like new missiles on Amazon?
Probably.
I don't know about Arab.com, but I bet there's a few Raytheon and other
Amazon.au. I need 3 Tomahawks. That'd be quite fucking handy. Don't tell me Jeff Bezos wouldn't do it if he could.
That would explain how Iran got in possession of a U.S. Tomahawk missile to bomb their own school, was through Amazon.Arab.com.
Yeah, seriously, after reading that Legacy of Ashes book, like, I am fully convinced that we fucked up and bombed that school. Like, we are the most incompetent.
If you go to antiwar.com, the site I was talking about right now, a blog right now says that's just talking about that exact same thing. The data that we were using to tell that school was a thing was based on data that was 10 years old.
Yeah, I read.
That's
what I read. Yeah.
It was 10 years out of date, and the current video of it and stuff shows that there are towers dismantled, gates changed, which maybe fucking Iran did all that stuff to disguise the fact that fucking thing was, except all the kids did die. So there's that. Unfortunately, God or Allah or whoever rest their souls.
Yeah, it sucks. It's everything about war sucks. But
well, speaking of God, Allah, and war, and Allah and war and stuff, I saw a documentary on like major war events from history, and this was Japan back during the Mongol Empire. And the Mongols decided to invade Japan, and they caught Japan unaware. Japan was not prepared, and they launched, like, they have 500 ships moored in the bay or whatever, and they launch a full-scale invasion. And just as they do, a huge typhoon wiped out the entire fleet. And I guess maybe a lot of the Mongols were still on there. This is real history. Wiped them out. So Japan's like, oof, we've been saved by this typhoon. Well, now they're wary of the Mongols, so they start building their defenses because they'll be back, right? I don't know if it was 5-10 years later, the Mongols decided to try it again. Now they bring like 5,000 ships, and they tether all the ships together in the bay. I forgot if another huge typhoon didn't wipe them all out. So that led them to believe, this is now the Japanese, it led the Japanese to believe we are invincible. This is a sign from God that we cannot.
Why wouldn't you? That is a logical way to think at that time period. I have to give it to them.
Right.
Why would you not?
And that's when they came up with the term kamikaze. Kama meaning God, kazi being wind, or vice versa. So that's when the word kamikaze was coined.
Interesting.
It was very interesting.
Huh. I had trying to remember, since I read a couple different books about Genghis Khan and stuff, and I was trying to remember. I know that they'd never successfully gotten to Japan because they were horse warriors, horse tribe, so that they were very successful on land, were never really able to get to Japan because of the water. It would make sense that in the effort to get over there, they wouldn't know how to read the weather, or seas, or whatever. And interesting. Genghis Khan, I think it's Genghis or Genghis Khan, but very interesting story that his whole life, his whole government system, and how the whole Mongol Empire was forged and operated. Just fascinating.
But imagine those handful of times in history. Like, our buddy Grant always mentioned, like, the first time, like when the Gatling gun was invented, and the first Indians, like, when the side of that wagon dropped down and some dude just cranking out machine gun fire, and you're like, oh my God, like, or you're a Mongol warrior and you're attacking the Japanese, and all of a sudden the fucking sky opens up. Like,
yeah,
that's legitimately why people should believe in gods. That makes sense. If you have no explanation for it and that shit happens, like, I get it. Like, supernatural all day long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when it happens twice, you're like, well, fuck, it's just not our goddamn luck. Apparently, we're not supposed to invade this country.
It's a sign from God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm having a squirrel moment, Josh. Your teeth look extremely white. They look very, very white.
Me or
Anything?
me?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Spray paint.
Okay.
No, it's just because I have a light right here in front of me. I probably could have kicked it down a notch, like one more level down.
No, looks good.
All right, well, check it.
Yeah, I gotta have those clean.
See if, make sure the
No
molars
white
are all
to the
right.
inside of your mouth or anything. I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah,
your
all
teeth
right.
look good.
Good deal. Well, what was it that you were talking about? You were reading Scientific American today, and are
Yeah.
they're talking about polyamory in Scientific American? Or, well, okay? You said you had a bunch of shit that was in that article, huh?
There's a bunch of shit in it. It was the life and the age of AI issue. They had a whole bunch of shit, and you know, I like patronizing science-based literature and stuff, and things that
Same.
maybe can be spreading truth and fact, or at least promoting healthy thought instead of the everything fucking else. But of course, and I'm sure there's people that'd be like, "You fucking idiot! The magazine is fucking liberal bullshit," but I don't think so.
Come on, that's Scientific American. That magazine's probably around since like the late 1800s.
Yeah, definitely. They have in the back, they have their old articles, and yeah, 1876. This
Yeah,
one has an article from 1876.
I mean, that's got to be one of the most trusted magazines on the planet. Like them, the Smithsonian, Discover.
Although one thing I will say, I've seen in the Scientific American an advertisement for I'm going to butcher his name, I apologize, but that Zawi Arar, I don't know, damn it, what is his name? I have it right here. Zawi, no, that's Poland. Zawi, he's the Egyptian minister of ecology or something, whatever. But anyway, he's the fucking guy that's out there telling us that the fucking pyramids are tombs and that we have found everything that we need to know about them. And then when we find those scans of the fucking structures underneath them, he's like, "Oh yeah, we've known about those forever, and you don't need to worry about them. They're not a big deal." You know about those scans?
No, but I know there's very elaborate things going on with those tombs, like with the pyramids and whatnot.
But
And
the most recent findings was they had the guy from I don't remember what country is from, but they developed this technology. You know how we have the LiDAR technology, the laser, you know, when you're scanning, that's how they've been able to scan like huge swaths of, say, the Amazon or Central America. And somehow by shooting lasers with satellites, and it goes through the foliage, depending on where the trees move, and it reflects back, and they're able to find like buried structures underneath, you know, outlines of foundations and stuff. They have a technology now they've developed, and I'm blanking on the name, but it's based on the same thing. They're able to penetrate the earth 1,000 or more meters deep. And depending on the way they read the vibrations and the rebounds and stuff, they can very accurately depict the structures underground. So, and I'm going to tell you some stuff. I'm going to backtrack. So this guy who had an interest in the pyramids, he has access to this technology, which is satellite based, but he's the inventor of this technology. He scanned the pyramids and found these cylinders that are like 1,000, 15 or 1,500 meters more deep into the earth. Cylinders, huge cylinders. They fit underneath the pyramids, right? That also have a spiral structure around them going down. And there's multiples of these. They're enormous. And they've been found through these scans underneath the pyramids. So a bunch of people are like, that's a bunch of bullshit. You could do that with whatever. Those technology is junk. It doesn't work. Who knows how it works? So this is where I'm backtracking. This technology is used by all kinds of oil and petrochemical companies. It's used by the government, multiple governments, the US, all kinds of other stuff. They use it to scan for oil reserves, natural gas reserves, because they can get underneath the ground and figure it out. They're using it for these tunnel networks. They're using it for the scanning the Iranian stuff. I'm sure they're not telling us about it. In fact, in the interview, the guy was asking him, well, like, what do you use it for? And he's like, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. So I'm sure they're using it. But his point, what I can tell you is because these agencies are using it, and specifically economically, like if a oil company is using it to find oil reserves and they're using it all the time, it works. They're not going to be throwing money at something that doesn't work. So he used this technology that's widely used by other agencies for accurate results that they can invest a lot of money in and a lot of resources in order to make a lot of money. He just had access to them, used it to scan the pyramids, found all this shit. We're not excavating the pyramids. We're not doing anything about it. And this asshole Aziz Hawari or whatever his name is like, oh yeah, we've known it the whole time, and it's not a big deal, no big fucking deal. So
Nothing
anyway,
to
the point
see
about
here,
Scientific
Jedi.
American is I've seen his advertising in the advertisement saying like he's selling like a tour of Egypt and you can go take it, which makes me a little suspect. 'Cause I'm like, if you believe in science so much, you wouldn't be taking money from this guy to promote his story because his story makes no fucking sense. Anyway,
But
that's my
they do sell advertising in general. It's their policy.
sure. You got to.
Unlike a magazine like Consumer Reports, which does not for obvious reasons. And what's he saying? He's just saying that. What's his claim? Yeah, well, it's not like what's his actual claim?
His claim is that the pyramids were tombs used
Yeah.
by the ancient pharaohs. They were built about 1,000 to 3,000 BCE, and there's nothing interesting to see there. Nothing interesting to see at all. So
Not at all.
not at all. But that's his story. Nothing interesting to see. Nothing going on. And even though we found these structures underground, we found we know there wasn't ever a.
So is someone saying that these are like spiral staircases, or are they?
We don't know what they are, but they can tell that they're different materials. I don't know. I've listened to a bunch of stuff about it. I'm super interested in it, but I'm not prepared about it. But they're not. And I've read a book by it was Christopher. He wrote a book called I think it was the pyramid power plants or the Giza. It was a Giza power plant. It's called the Giza power plant. This guy is a mechanical and electrical engineer, super intelligent guy. He developed this theory and kind of fleshed it out in this book called the Giza power plant of how potentially the Giza pyramid could have been used as a generator. And he goes through and describes all the causeways, the king's chamber, the queen's chamber. In the king's chamber, I think they have there's a whole bunch of huge granite blocks, granite slabs. From underneath, they're machined very finely to nice slabs. On top of them, they're extremely rough, but they've still been worked. And they've been worked in such a way, so that if you see them from above, it's almost like a key. Like if you look at the profile of a key, right? And what they were doing with these blocks was removing material in such a fashion so that each block had a certain resonancy frequency, right? So he goes through all these steps and these things. He's got a bunch of evidence for it. I mean, I'm not saying it's true. I don't know if the Giza was a power plant or what it created, but he creates he has at least, I'm not even going to call it a theory. He has an interesting idea, an interesting hypothesis that is way more plausible than they built it so they could bury their king in it.
But is he bringing up like alien conspiracies?
No.
Nothing like that. It was just something else. But he doesn't say
it
what.
It was a human earthly endeavor, and he doesn't exactly say. It's been years since I've read the book.
But it's not saying like this was a previous civilization prior to our latest bouts of humanity or something. Or
he's not necessarily proposing any idea of to who or what or how.
Well, that in and of itself gets me a little suspect about some of these kind of people, because some of them they kind of just tend to be that what if and kind of poking like stuff, but they don't really have a okay. But what are you trying to tell me? That's where
Nothing.
That's what
He's just news. It's like he's not editorializing.
I know, but it's just
He's
like
just
okay.
presenting.
So what am I supposed to do with this though? Like, are we supposed to go under the pyramids and see?
It's supposed to make you think.
I don't really like thinking.
From my perspective, and from reading this guy's book, I'm a bit of an engineer. My dad was an engineer.
Sure.
I have a bit of that mindset. For me, wasn't trying to inject his opinion to say this is what it was. His only opinion was, I see X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z would be used to do this operation. I see this as an engineer. I see this as the process. I don't know who did this process. I don't know necessarily how they came about this, but these things are here, clear and present, and we need to maybe. And he's not, he's not saying it was aliens. He's not saying it was necessarily a previous race. He's not saying it's not one of those things. He's just saying like, here's some evidence. Here's things I think why it's working. It's kind of like if you found an old rusted, say you didn't know what a fucking car was, right? But you've driven fucking tractors, and you found a beat up car. Totally wasted, trashed car, and you kind of like, well, we think that maybe this was an engine, and
it could have been the same structure. It's just a matter of pistons and shit rolling, exhaust, blah blah blah.
We
Yeah, I
don't
get
know
what
who
you're saying
drove it.
there.
We don't know how it got here. We don't know that there's a murder committed
Now
in
let
the
me
back
ask you
seat.
this:
Or,
have you ever taken like this guy's name or his claims or anything and done like a Google search and just put like after it like debunked just to see if like there's like the counter argument to people like to what he's saying?
yeah, I mean, I have.
Okay.
So, well, I wouldn't necessarily have, but I've listened to him and his story on multiple podcasts, and also listened to people that argue against his that how we I can't. So Zayas Hawari, I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name. I don't mean to.
I can't wait to see that fucking word come up when in the caption.
I know, right? Jeez, or in the podcast. I'm gonna find it here because I know it's right on the back of one of these things. It's Was Hawari. There it is, right there. Hawass. He Hawass. Doctor the he Hawass.
All right. Now we got somebody to talk to. Now we can
There's
go
his name.
But a lot of times, no, I got for me, anytime I see like these claims that occur as a little more extraordinary, you know, a little more outside of the norm, sometimes I'll do like a cursory search and just put like the claim and then debunk, and just to see, because there's a lot of a lot of sites like Quack Watch is a really good one. Or I used to listen to a really good podcast, was like The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, was a bunch of scientists that would talk about shit like that. And it's,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes, you know, I don't even know what this guy, I get what you're saying, like that he's discovered something that, you know, everyone else just said was like a routine thing, and they're kind of telling you there's nothing to see here, and he's saying there might be something to see here. My thing is just like, okay, what is it that we're looking at?
But you don't want to know?
I do want to know, but I'm like, what are we looking at? Like, I mean, why
I don't
are
know.
we?
That's why I want to look.
I know, but like
that's my
is
stance.
it like, is the Egyptian government not letting anyone look under the pyramids? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. They won't let anything happen underneath there. They won't let us go in and excavate. And they say that the pyramids are tombs, that we know everything about them, even though there's a huge amount of literature that says to the otherwise. We now have these physical scans that say there are other structures underneath the pyramids that were denied before, and this is known. We don't know what they're for, but there's these huge structures. They're there again by a technology that's proven.
oh no,
It's not
okay. That's what I'm saying. Like, all right, let's. I want to know now. I just want to know.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's a power plant. Maybe it is a fucking tomb, and maybe these fucking cylinders and the fucking spiral things were the stairs and the tombs, right? And they're underneath us the whole time, and we didn't fucking know. And now they're proven to be tombs. Cool. I was wrong. I don't fucking know. But they're
steampunk overlords is steampunk overlords is kind of where we're headed.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. It just, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things. I mean, we've talked about the Egyptians have it in their book, their records. The Greeks have it in their records about the labyrinth of books and knowledge.
But if it's a power plant, like what's powering the power plant? Is it water powered?
I've seen one where it was water. Multiple pyramids were lined up on the like certain parallels where they could read each other, and beams could be. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read it.
There's it, like I said, this they said the Giza. I mean, it's been, I don't know. And again, I didn't take it like super seriously. You know, it's not like
I think we might have to do a
like,
follow up on this one here. I think you're gonna have to do a follow up. I want to know.
Yeah,
more
we totally
about
can.
this.
It was I mean, it's an interesting book. Like, you know, you read stuff and you think like, I mean, you look at any of this fucking Epstein shit, right? Not to drag that up, but like
Hey,
some
go
of it,
for
you're like, pizza fucking grape soda. It doesn't make any sense, you know, like, and none of it makes sense. It's all, but this, like, his book isn't like controversy or like, it's a very like engineering, logically based way to say, look, there's this chamber, there's this passageway, it's lined up to this. It explains how there's I mean, I don't know if you guys are super familiar with the pyramid structure, but there's the descending passageway, there's the ascending passageway. I think somewhere down through the descending passageway, it goes down and they end up like chiseling up into another chamber in the middle of the pyramid, which I think is maybe the Queen's chamber. And they're like, why did they do that? His theory is that that's something you would do in an emergency situation where like you need to get to an area and the only way you can access it is by coming up through another area. They talk about the descending chamber has a pit that they say was used for whatever reason stuff, but the residues that are left on the outside of that pit are residues that are signify certain chemical reactions. So he believes that maybe there was a pit where they had a chemical reaction which created a gas which would float up through the ascending passageway into the king's chamber, which there's a viewport which lines up with the fucking. Again, I don't necessarily believe any of this fucking shit, but okay, I don't know. But like, he's got a very, I mean, it's a very well laid out plan in talking about, you know, like the blocks, the granite blocks in the king's chamber, the way they're shaped, the way they're laid. Like, and again, it's just a mystery to me. It's interesting. I don't know if this guy Christopher is right. I sure as fuck know it's not a tomb, and this Zahi Hawass is fucking full of shit. But the thing is that we all know for sure is these people, like, none of us do something for nothing. Whoever those humans were didn't build those pyramids and put those granite blocks that weigh 50, 60, 70, 100 tons up in that place and shape them a certain way for just random, like, fuck it, whatever you guys want to do. I'm building a tomb for myself, whatever you want to do. There's a reason. I don't know what that reason was, whether it was a tomb or a power plant or a meditation chamber, but there was a reason. And we'll never know, but I'm curious. I'm just curious.
Part of that reason could be that they might have just had a lot of fucking free time on their hands. I'm not discounting like that there's like some shit going on there, and there might be like some more detailed reasoning, but I think a lot of the reasons for things, especially around that time period before we went and got ourselves super, super busy, was that people did things to see if they could, and they had massive amounts of manpower at their disposal. So it was a fun time to try some things, right? And so I will give you that there was a lot of occult, supernatural, and astrological shit in the air because it's a pre-scientific time. Okay, so their reasons might have been magical thinking, they could have been anything. It could have been anything from an advanced civilization doing some shit that we haven't been able to figure out, to I'm fucking scared because it rains every 3 days. Like, I don't want it to stop raining. Like, it's like so their reasons could be a little hard for us to fathom now.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to know more about this and to know more of like what this guy is actually claiming or thinking or anything. I think it's a fun little, place to talk about shit. And I love Egyptology to begin, anyway. I think it's quite fascinating, and they had a lot of shit going for them as a civilization, in a lot of ways they were quite a bit ahead of us.
Well, and I mean, so like I said, and that's the other thing, which again, I don't believe is, and like you said, to your point, to a counterpoint, you're right. Maybe 4,000 years before BCE, they're scared about rain and thunder and this. But when you look at like structures like the Sphinx that are supposed to be dated to 12,000, BCE, before when the ice ages melted and all that stuff, which maybe suggests that the pyramids were built in that same time or before, and that the people that were there in the 3,000, 4,000 years, which is almost 8,000, 7,000 to 8,000 years after the stuff was built. I could very much see that those people in the 3,000, 4,000 BC era were the savage morons who thought that fucking thunder was God fucking bowling.
Well, I'm not discounting them. I don't think we're any better or more enlightened, just to be clear. I think we're just the same savage morons with fucking iPhones.
Sure. I mean, I think we're the same. I don't think we're anything. I think if you think all things could be equal, if you took us and a person from even several thousand years ago, I don't think we'd be that. If like we both could speak to each other and talk, and there wasn't any weird like
over that time frame always gets condensed as the future progresses.
Yeah, I think we'd be. I don't think we're any smarter necessarily. I think humans, that's why we've thrived, and that's how we've gotten to this point. Humans as a general species thing, whatever, all of it. I mean, that's why we're the dominant species on the planet for the most part. Like that's why we've been able to capitalize.
You got to go read Guns, Germs, and Steel. That's why we're the advanced. That's why we are who we are. Guns, Germs, and Steel, baby, or something like that.
Is it because we use germs, or because
there's a book I've got that's basically the three things that really make the changes. It's like, weapons, biological shit, and textiles.
Yep.
The fuck.
Absolutely.
Like the having steel while your enemies had wood. Shit, that's the same as you having tomahawks and them having slingshots.
Yeah. Huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
But no, I would definitely be interested in hearing more about that as we keep adding to the things that Chronic's gonna do here with the Federalist Papers and
I know.
the
We're doing
playlists
a
on
lot
it,
of reading.
Debate.
I'm getting through them. I'm
right?
coming. I'm
I
making
love it.
notes. Yep.
But all right, well, that's like I said, I want to find out a little bit more about that. I'd like to know more. That's all I want to do is I want to know more about that. That's actual like
Yeah.
we can structurally work off of that.
Christopher Dunn. That's the
Christopher
author's
Dunn.
name. Christopher Dunn.
Dunn. Okay. All right.
Yep, Christopher Dunn.
I still, like I said it once already, but I feel like every time we go to talk about current events and shit, we just immediately fucking curve because like everything that's happening is so fucked up. We don't even want to talk about it.
Find anything else.
We intentionally just find a tangent and start talking about something else.
Speaking of which,
all right.
NFL, I love, of course.
Sure.
Free agency period has begun.
Oh, don't I know it? I'm starting to see all those headlines.
Josh, you got to love this one. One of the biggest names that was rumored to want to trade was Max Crosby from the Raiders, one of the best badass defensive linemen there is. And so Baltimore Ravens, Josh's enemy, traded 2 first-round picks for him. Well, he was injured at the end of last year. After the trade was done, it's never official until the team that's traded for him, their medical team is allowed to give him a full medical evaluation. If he doesn't pass, the trade's null and void. Well, in the 24 hours or so since they made the paper deal, the Raiders, who traded him, they go and sign $200 million worth of players. All right. So they're counting on this guy being off their books now. He fails the physical. So the trade is now off after the Raiders. Now the Raiders have to take him and his salary back after they've signed all these $200 million worth of players. It's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out. What do you think is going to happen? I haven't researched it. I don't know if they have enough salary cap space to keep him.
They can't take the hit on the cap. They got to get rid of him, right?
I don't know.
Well, did they also in that $200 million worth
get the monkey off your back, Cron?
Yeah, you got to get that monkey off your back, homie.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It rides me.
But inside that $200 million that they went out and got, did they replace him? Did they get somebody to take his job?
They got a player who plays his position, but would not beat him out.
Wouldn't beat him out. Well, yeah. But now he don't want to be there no more.
Now, here's what I would have loved. To his credit, to the player's credit, he tweeted or whatever, a public thank you to Raiders Nation. I've loved my time here. I'm always a Raider. When I retire, I'm going to retire a Raider, even though I'm moving on to my last chapter. I would have loved it if he did the opposite. If he would have said, fucking time. I hate this fucking organizations. The fan are stupid. And then the trade.
Wow.
Then the trade fails. He's like, shit.
I love it. Well, actually, no, the Raiders are in Las Vegas now.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's right. Fuck.
Yeah. You know that they're, back in the 80s, they wouldn't even consider having a NFL team in Las Vegas just because of that. The view of impropriety of a team being that close to organized betting was verboten.
I still think it's insane.
It's fuck. You know what I find is insane is that the NFL and Major League Baseball have official betting partners. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Are we going to exonerate Pete Rose any fucking time soon or what?
Pete Rose should have the biggest fucking statue built for him, paid for by the National Baseball, like Major League Baseball. And they should just once a year suck a dick for in his honor because fuck I'm sorry.
Fucking men. Jesus.
I watched that man play, and I grew up in Pittsburgh, so he was a Red, right? So there was no love lost, but nobody played the fucking game harder than that man.
No.
If you remember, during an All-Star game, he took out Ray Fosse at home plate in an All-Star game. Those two were drinking together that afternoon, and he plowed his ass at the fucking home plate because, hey, bitch, you want to stand on the track? That man didn't make any difference between first game of the year, playoff game, World Series game, All-Star game. He fucking hustled. He was fun to watch. I'll never believe that he ever bet on his own teams. I don't give a fuck what you say. I think they actually proved that he didn't, and yet they still...
To me, it's okay if you bet on your own team, just not against your own team.
I get that, but you're never going to get away with that optics, whatever. But you couldn't convince me he ever threw a game. Like,
Right. That's what I'm saying. Betting against your team, that's throwing a game.
sure.
Betting on your team is we're going to fucking win this game.
Well, I don't even know if betting against your team is throwing a game. It's your coaching decisions that go along with that. Like, it's pretty easy to watch basketball games after you know the fucking scam's in and be like, oh my God, he fucking threw that ball 5 feet to fucking away from that guy. Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Betting against your team leads to those decisions.
Oh, well, okay. If you want to make that point, I'll grant you that, sure. Because, like, yeah, basketball's fucking terrible. But in baseball, you don't have that much fucking power. One guy on a nine-man roster can't do that. Like, how many opportunities do you have to throw a game as a baseball player?
Good point. Yeah.
Even as a manager, all you can do is maybe put your shittier players in, But still, they're still fucking professionals that can hit and catch and do all the shit. Like, you watch basketball players fucking throw up bricks and throw passes 10 feet of fucking, like, oh my God. Like, I feel like over the course of the years, basketball has become like the obvious corrupt sport in both officiating and players trying to make a few extra bucks.
I haven't watched any of it because I find it boring, but I could believe it.
From what I understand, like on the world stage, like FIFA is probably the most corrupt organization on the planet, next to the Olympic Committee.
About soccer.
Heard that.
Well, I mean, the rules of soccer to me almost promote almost promote corruption. For one thing, you have a floating offsides line, right? Not like hockey where you have a fucking painted line on the ice and everybody knows where it's at. In soccer, you have a floating line that is at the discretion of the official.
Ew.
Secondly, anytime these guys get fucking touched, they dive like they got fucking stabbed. Like, I can't. I get that on a worldwide scale, it's seen as gamesmanship. To me, it's boring. Like,
and don't the refs also have the option, even though the clock has expired? Nope, there's a running clock in my head. I'll tell you when we're done.
It's not so much an option. What they do is they add injury time to the clock. They add time to the clock throughout the game.
Injury or delay.
Amount of time?
One of the officials on the field has the official time. The players do not know after that 90 minutes. So I actually like that part that the players don't know. Well, I like
it. It only works when it's live play. Like, you couldn't do it in football, but hockey or soccer, you could.
Soccer, it works, and I like it with the caveat that the one official with the time has integrity. Like, if that guy's a piece of shit, I don't know what I guess my theory's out the window. But I do like hey, we have injury time as just part of our game. You play till it's over, so you just keep on fucking playing. Like,
but the players need to know how much time's left.
Do they? That's not a very fast-paced fucking sport. Do they? If you're down by one and you're in extra time and you're not doing everything you can do to put the fucking ball in the net, like,
Well, all right, hypothetically, let's say there's only 5 seconds remaining and you don't know that. Instead of a short little pass, maybe you're going to take a Hail Mary kick at the goal, something.
I get what you're saying, but like in soccer, like there's never that much. They kind of know within a minute how much time they have. And nobody, like, nothing ever exciting happens within like 30 seconds. So you're not going goal to goal in 30 seconds.
It seems to me that, and I'm no expert on this, but it just seems to me like, and actually, to be totally honest, most of it seems to come from my FIFA video game experience.
The video game, FIFA soccer.
But it's EA Sports, and it's in the game. So they're pretty fucking accurate. And I feel like if you're down 0-1 and the other team that's up is fucking crushing you, the ref is going to call that, the official's going to call the time pretty fucking quick, right? But like, if it seems like there happens to be some bit of momentum, and again, it's not like they're going to keep going for 2 minutes, but like if there's a bit of a play going, and I feel like I've seen this borne out in a few soccer games that I've watched, and I could be totally making this up, but it kind of seems like the ref or the timekeeper almost seems like if it seems like there may be a play going to happen, I'm going to let it go.
That's not right.
I don't even know if I agree with that. I thought one guy had an actual like clock.
I could be wrong. This is totally my opinion, conjecture from fucking FIFA video games.
I like the way you're
thinking.
Fucking... You're kind of like, he's just floating referee. Is like,
time's got to be time. Time can't be subjective.
Because,
well,
like,
they do it.
Saying,
like I said, I think they have that one guy. So anytime there's an injury, one person's adding, or the head official tells the clock guy, hey, add a minute 30. And that guy adds a minute 30. So
Good with that.
I feel like there's one person that actually has an official time on this.
And I wasn't saying that he was just how it felt. It was 100% what you were saying, that they're keeping track of the time of time during the game. So it's going to be about a minute and 45 seconds, right? That's the time you get. But if like it gets down to be a minute 45 and like there's something, and again, maybe I'm wrong, maybe because I have seen him call it, but I don't know. I could be wrong. But
I get what you're saying. It almost feels
I think
like
you're right.
I feel like that's probably I think that's the coaching staff knowing how much time is left and prompting their players accordingly. But I get what you're saying. They almost,
that's fair.
So many times in extra time, it feels like they do get that one last scoring opportunity if it's flowing that way. But I totally get what you're saying. I feel like that's probably more a factor of the coaching than the.
Is soccer like hockey in that?
In no way is soccer like hockey.
In a few ways.
In the one regard that the ball has to go into the net before time expires, or can it just have left their foot on the way to the net?
It's left their foot.
Is that how it is in soccer? If it leaves their foot?
I'm pretty sure it's left a foot. As long as you kick it before it's called, yeah.
Well, hockey, it's not if it leaves the stick. It's got to cross the line.
It's got to be in the net.
It's got to be in the net.
What the fuck?
Hockey has to cross the line before time expires.
Fuck.
What is happening over there, Mr.?
Something's raining down on me.
Not raining on you? Maybe I'm wrong. Fucking
fuck.
What? Ew.
Think bug.
I feel like we're about done for tonight.
Oh. That's nasty. Damn.
All right, you should definitely go deal with that.
There's nothing to do now. It's already released its scent.
Oh. And it came from the ceiling?
Yeah, it dropped down on me.
Phew. All right, I'm going to cut this part out too.
Get rid of that.
I feel like we're about wrapped up for the evening.
Yeah.
We're talking about stink bugs and soccer. We're done.
Cut it.
All right, we're out of here. All right. So until next time. Hey, like I said, you gotta if you're listening to this, you know, right? You gotta like and subscribe, and you gotta do all the fucking things. Until next time.
And if you know about soccer, correct us.
If you know about soccer or the pyramids, like send a fucking text or something.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm wrong all the time.
All the
I don't know what I'm
time.
talking about.
Correct us. All right, later, fellas.
See you guys.
Bye.